everyone. Happy Friday and welcome to another live edition of The Big Show on Big Ten Network. She's Alana Renbaum. I'm Eddie Kalegi. Thanks for joining us. Happy 7-Eleven Day to those who celebrate. Our Jib-Op, Ethan Lim, and I took a little trip during lunch, but got a lot of sports to get to today. Going to be talking some football, going to be focusing on Nebraska, but of course we have Alana here, so you know a lot about Maryland football.
Yeah, I spent about 3 years working for Maryland football and their video board team, so I've seen a few games here and there, and I'm really excited to get to talk about them today.
Yeah, it should be really interesting to see how the Big Ten continues to shake out heading into next season. But Nebraska was in action against the Wisconsin Badgers, and that's where we're going to start this show. A big matchup between two teams looking to get bowl eligible, battling for the Freedom Trophy. And for the Huskers, new tight ends coach for Wisconsin, it's a new offensive coordinator for Nebraska, Dana Holgorsen, former head coach at West Virginia. And you could see the impacts. Nebraska changed it up. Dylan Raiola didn't just throw the ball, they ran the ball too.
And that's what you get from when you play against Nebraska. You never really know what they're going to do, so you got to be ready for any option.
On the other side, Wisconsin, Braden Locke was locked in early, finds the back corner of the end zone to even the score. But from there, Nebraska just took over this football game with the ground game. Dante Dowdell found the end zone 3 times.
Absolutely beautiful, and that's exactly what you would draw up for that play.
And then Dylan Raiola. I know people say he's sometimes a little bit of a Patrick Mahomes cosplayer, but that was a bit of a Mahomey throw there to the back of the end zone.
And a beautiful toe tap to finish it out and make sure they collected those 6 points.
Yeah, Nebraska was on a roll offensively, and then the defense was playing great too. At this point, 27-10, big tackle in the backfield.
Beautiful football. What can I say?
Nebraska fans surely loved it. The Huskers then putting the icing on the cake, up 17 here. Dowdell again finding the end zone in front of the fans at Memorial Stadium. Big win for the Huskers. Badgers, of course, things to work on. A lot of my question for you, though, where do you see these two teams stacking up compared to Maryland?
Oh, God. Compared to Maryland this year, we have a 5-star recruit coming in at quarterback, Malik Washington. So I'm very excited to see how it goes. I don't want to get my hopes up and get too excited, but should be another good year for Mike Loxley and the whole crew over at College Park.
But for Nebraska, one last thing on this game, I feel like this is a program that's kind of starting to turn things around. I mean, they were a big deal 25 years ago. Feels like they haven't really found their footing since they joined the Big Ten, but starting to make some strides.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that goes back to the coaching staff and what they're able to do with new players coming in and just really integrating them into their style of football.
And it gets even harder now that you add in the 4 new teams too. And I mean, it's not always something to write home about with some of those programs, but Oregon is so good. We met the Oregon Duck this morning. They got that Phil Knight money, so that team's doing great every year. USC, UCLA, Washington. Washington played for a national championship 2 years ago too.
Yeah. West Coast, they're going to bring it this year, and we're just going to watch and see what happens.
Yeah, it should be really interesting to see how it continues to shake out with this 18-team conference. And then this isn't the only one, too. I mean, you've got the ACC, you got teams, it's the Atlantic Coast Conference. And
you got West Coast teams there.
They're quite literally on the Pacific Coast.
Yes.
But I think it's good for the sport overall, makes these conferences exciting. I know some people don't really like the super conferences, but bringing in so much history, the Big Ten was already so great. You add USC and Oregon football in there, and of course all 4 of those schools really good at the Olympic side too.
Of course, and the atmosphere that those schools bring, their huge arenas, huge stadiums, huge fan support, big alumni networks, you really see how those teams fit into the Big Ten and how they're going to make a direct impact.
Well, they also make an impact on the hardwood, and we shift over to basketball because we did have the NBA draft. A lot of names up there. Love seeing Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. I know you're a big fan of the third name there, Derek.
Oh, yeah. Derek Queen, absolute legend at the University of Maryland. Even though he was only there for 1 year, kid showed up, balled out every single game, and we were so happy to have him only for 1 year.
Well, let's get a little more insight on this NBA draft class and the Big Ten players who are heading to the pro level. And with the sweet victory background behind him, our good friend Miguel, thanks for stopping by once again.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure's mine.
So my big question for you first, the 2 Rutgers guys that went 2nd and 5th rather, and Harper and Bailey, 2 of the top 3 recruits going into the year. How do you think they're going to transition to the Spurs and the Jazz come this fall?
I honestly think that Dylan Harper is going to transition well into the Spurs because he's an offensive playmaker, and that's what they're lacking. They got Wembanyama who can take over a game, but they need someone who's going to find Wembanyama in the paint, and I think Dylan Harper is that guy. As for Ace Bailey, the Jazz have kind of dismantled their team and they're rebuilding. So I think with Ace Bailey, he's going to be that takeover player. He's going to be that focal point of the team that they build around.
And it's so big for Rutgers as a program, too, that hasn't had this kind of basketball success. And another team that's like that is Northwestern, and they finally got someone drafted in Brooks Barnheiser, who's going to a great situation in OKC. I know it's going to be hard to get playing time there, but how do you see him fitting into that role?
I think for him, he's going to play his role. He's a versatile player. He can shoot, he can pass, he can take a big shot. I think for him, this is going to be a learning experience, and the team culture fits it perfectly. OKC is a brotherhood, and that's exactly what he had at Northwestern as well. So I think for him, learning from the vets, learning from Shea, learning from Williams, learning from Chet, and building that bond is really going to be a great experience for him.
Miguel, should be a fun season come this fall in the Big Ten and the NBA. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So the college basketball season will be getting started in November, and we got to start thinking about it because Tom Izzo is going to be joining us on the other side. Head coach of the Michigan State Spartans, always a contender. We'll see what they're up to when we come back here on The Big Show on Big Ten Network.